Whatever is on that ship, it is generating great turmoil within Godzilla. I cannot read the creature's mind, but its rage is palpable, connecting to the super-adaptoid via mind link through this portable Cerebro unit will be unsettling at first, but to stop Godzilla, we will have to work together as never before. Quote, Professor X, Marvel's greatest heroes must fight Godzilla from across the eras. The battle of the century starts here. Number three of six sensational action-packed issues with Marvel heroes battling the king of the monsters from its many different eras. How will Godzilla's lore mix with the mighty Marvel universe? Find out as history is twisted when icons like the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Hulk, X-Men, and Thor go face off against one of the greatest monsters of all time. Round four versus the uncanny X-Men. When a robotics firm draws a kaiju's anger, the X-Men are called in to protect a world that hates and fears them from the counterattack of Godzilla. But what are the reasons for Godzilla's attacks? And are the X-Men on the right side? Follow the X-Men as they take on the king of the monsters before humanity sends forth the Sentinels to finish the job. Round four in a series of six one-shot throwdowns. Godzilla vs. X-Men Volume 1, Issue 1, appearing in a world that hates and fears them. At the Imabari shipyards in Japan, Sunfire, Shiro Yoshida, who is capable of generating superheated plasma, confronts Godzilla in a fierce battle. Despite his fiery powers, Sunfire struggles to match the sheer might of the king of the monsters and ultimately fails to stop Godzilla's atomic breath during their explosive beam fight. Overwhelmed, Sunfire is hurled into the ocean. After years of absence, his return to Japan shatters the hope many had clung to, that he was gone for good. Sunfire, initially prideful and almost insulted that a creature like Godzilla had never crossed his path before, quickly realizes the cost of his arrogance when another atomic breath obliterates a Chugane robotics facility just before Godzilla vanishes beneath the waves. This marks Godzilla's third attack against the company's holding in as many weeks. At the Xavier Institute for Higher Learning, Professor Charles Xavier thanks Mr. Kaniito for granting him an audience through holograms, affirming that Sunfire was right to request his involvement. Kanito expresses concern over not using heavy weaponry to repel Godzilla, but another virtual attendee counters that such force has been tried repeatedly and failed. Kanito insists that Godzilla only understands brute strength and must be met with equal force. Xavier disagrees, pointing out that Godzilla attacks have been specified and consistent, implying a reasoned motivation. When Henry Peter Gyrick questions whether Xavier is excusing Godzilla's actions, Xavier replies that he cannot condone or condemn what he does not yet understand. Valerie Cooper then asks if Xavier's willingness to reason with Godzilla stems from a belief in the creature's capacity for reason. Xavier responds that they would be remiss not to try, but should peaceful methods fail, the X-Men will be ready to confront him. In the Danger Room, the X-Men prepare for such confrontation. Cyclops unleashes the full power of his optic blast, which is barely enough to breach the simulated density of Godzilla's hide. Jean Grey telekinetically redirects a fire blast from a cannon, which Storm catches in a tornado, noting that the blast is radioactive. Beast bounding across a metal tail isn't surprised, given Godzilla's origins. Wolverine, bursting through a mechanical claw, grumbles that they should spend less time talking and more time training. Xavier arrives, announcing that the Commission on Superhuman Activities has accepted their assistance, with Gyrick and Cooper drafting formal arrangements with the Japanese government. Xavier also reveals that he has uploaded the X-Men's training data to Central Shi'ar Processing Hub. When Cyclops looks confused, Xavier explains that while he hopes for a peaceful encounter with Godzilla, they must be prepared to meet him on his terms. Cyclops notes the difficulty of fighting someone over 100 meters tall. Xavier wryly explains that he's working on a solution to make the team taller. Later, Gambit breaks into a CSA storage depot in Boulder, Colorado, searching for the super-adaptoid android, muttering that the target is never in the first room. He checks. He opens a vent with a screwdriver and lowers himself down with a carabiner. He descends to find the super-adaptoid sealed in glass. Speaking to Beast through an earpiece, he notes that reaching it was the easy part, but getting it out will be harder. Beast reminds him that they're prepared for this by securing a sample of PIM particles to shrink it for extraction. In Ise Bay, Godzilla watches another Chugani facility, reflecting that humanity endangers itself by escalating its eternal war against him. Inside, an employee explains that the parts lost in Godzilla's last attack were replaced by their partner, Trask Industries, with final production taking place offshore and the cargo scheduled for delivery in 2 days' time. On that day, the X-Men board the Blackbird, piloted by Beast. They spot the Chugani cargo ship nearing the facility and sense that Godzilla is already lurking below. Beast sets the jet to hover mode and joins the team. Gambit wishes they could battle Godzilla directly, but Cyclops reminds him that they didn't have time to train for fighting at giant scale and must rely on a mind link with the Adaptoid, instead using a portable Cerebro unit. Xavier cannot read Godzilla's mind, but senses his overwhelming rage at something on the ship. Godzilla surfaces attacking the cargo ship. As the crew realize they won't dock in time, the super-adaptoid plummets from the stratosphere, shielded by a telekinetic barrier that protects it from burning up. It hits with a sonic boom and zaps Godzilla with a powerful electrical blast from Storm. Using its Mimicry powers, it forms Cyclops' visor, sprouts flaming wings from its back, and channels electrical currents in one hand and flames in the other. Sunfire contacts Xavier via the mental link, asking if the super-adaptoid can withstand Godzilla's fury. Xavier assures him that the PIM particles increasing its size and the abilities of all the X-Men at once, it can. Now kaiju-sized, the adaptoid fires Cyclops' optic blast into Godzilla's face. Unfazed, Godzilla retaliates with atomic breath, which the adaptoid physically bends away using Jean's telekinesis. Xavier remarks that Godzilla doesn't see them as enemies, but as obstacles that must be removed. Beast detects massive mechanical activity inside the cargo ship through the Blackbird's sensory link. Xavier, echoing Godzilla's thoughts days ago, declares it a danger that must be destroyed. Try, Sentinel, Mech, Kaiju emerges a monstrous fusion of Chuguni and Trask technology based on Sentinel designs and incorporating replicated parts from the three captured or defeated Kaiju, Biolante, Batra, and Fire Rodan. Godzilla immediately engages the mech in another beam clash. Sunfire observes that Godzilla has redirected his attention from the heroes to the robot, warning that they cannot be both. Xavier asserts that their only hope is to unite with Godzilla against the greater threat. The super-adaptoid whips up a tornado, the wind lifting the machine into Godzilla's line of fire. The king of monsters blasts it with atomic breath, while the super-adaptoid slashes it using Wolverine's claws. Though the mech is heavily damaged, it continues to endanger fleeing citizens as their battle approaches the shore. Cyclops wonders why so many people have yet to evacuate, and Xavier replies they believe their own creation would protect them. Xavier and Jean sense fear and despair in the crowd and reflect on the irony of humanity building monsters to stop monsters. The mech ensnares Godzilla with its tentacles, but Godzilla incinerates its Biolante head with a direct blast. The super-adaptoid grabs the robot from behind. Godzilla senses impending triumph, but more than that, there's a sense of pride and accomplishment, more than just satisfaction. After all this time, if there's one thing Godzilla has proven, it's that no one is bigger than the king of monsters. Godzilla lashes out, obliterating the robot's upper half with another atomic breath. Another battle ends, another battle won, but the war won't be over until the reason for fighting ends. As Kanito cowers before Godzilla, Xavier senses that Godzilla's thoughts aren't rooted in language but emotion. He decides to show Godzilla humanity's hope, diving into the kaiju's memories. Xavier sees a 1955 battle between Godzilla and Gyrus, one that killed Kanito's father, a member of the GSDF. He learns that Godzilla didn't deliberately kill his father, but only intended to stop Anguirus. And Kaneto's grudge stems from a misunderstanding. When Kaneto accused the X-Men of siding with Godzilla, they reply that as mutants, they understand what it means to protect a world that fears and hates them. Godzilla departs, trusting the mutants to handle the most dangerous humans. After the battle, the X-Men disembark. Cyclops thanks Sunfire for his help. Sunfire smirks, saying Cyclops always makes things interesting. Kaneto, humbled, admits he was wrong about Godzilla, with Sunfire remarking that it took only a mirror to see who the real monster was. Round 5 in a series of 6 one-shot throwdowns. Next, Godzilla vs. New Avengers Volume 1, Issue 1.